So we live in very interesting times right now. We've got Tesla stock sitting kind of in this channel between, call it 160 and 200. We have Elon Musk compensation vote repositioning of being incorporated in Delaware down to Texas. We have interesting CPI data, PPI data, jobs numbers, the Fed. We've got this presidential election coming up this year. We've got inflation, stagflation, recession. All these different things are happening right now. On top of that, we're arguably on the precipice of a huge technological boom in our lifetimes when it comes to AI, ML, Gen AI. And it seems as if there's no way to make sense of what's next, because right when you think everything's essentially going to be stagnant to, just falling off a cliff, we have the Dow today break 40,000. So what's going on? I'm going to go ahead and just kind of break this down, let you guys know what I'm thinking in terms of the market, Tesla, Elon, everything. If you're new, my name's Nicholas. This is Investing Against the Grain. Buckle up. I'm probably going to say some things that are controversial, but it's what I do. I just speak my mind. So it is what it is. Let me know down below in the comments anything you agree with, anything you disagree. I do not claim to be right all the time, but I do believe in the philosophy of being right a lot, or as Elon would say, be less wrong. So with that said, let's talk about the economy first, because I don't want to spend too much time on that. Then let's go into talking about this coming up vote with Elon and Tesla's incorporation. And then let's get into the stuff that might get a little controversial, talking about robotaxis and how I see all that unfolding. So let's kick it off. Let's talk about the economy. So right now we are in a territory of unknown. The reason I say that is because what we are experiencing right now has never been experienced before. Yes, we can look in the past and we can say, hey, this recession did this, or this period of inflation caused this, or the 10-year, 2-year inversion signals this. Job unemployment percentage compared to negative GDP equals this for recession. There's all these things we can look in the past, but the truth is the past does not indicate what's going to happen in the future. We all know this. This is a not new mantra, right? History doesn't repeat itself, it rhymes, right? Things of that nature, those old adages, cliches, platitudes. So what I think we are going through right now is a very unique period, because what I see right now in my day-to-day life is that people are struggling to get by, but they're getting by. And they're not just struggling to get by, they're complaining, yet I don't see their actions changing all that much. Maybe they are in some ways, but nothing that's extremely noticeable for me. So let me give you a couple examples. Right now, we have food prices pretty high, restaurant prices pretty high. Now, I'm not saying they're running like crazy from inflation. I'm saying that they haven't really come down since the initial run up, and people aren't making more money. I'm sure there's some survey that some people can put out there says, oh, people are 6% pay wage increase, all this. But the truth is that's for a very small subset of people. That doesn't really reflect across the masses. And so I think people are still hurting. People are still struggling. And as a result, people aren't saving. People aren't really investing. And they're taking out a lot of credit card debt. And we see that in the delinquency numbers. We are at all-time high in debt with credit cards. So it's pretty wild. But I don't see people changing their spending styles on food, on going out, on drinking, on buying clothes, right? Just a lot of the guilty pleasures, a lot of things we don't really need. And instead, I see people not saving, not investing, not buying houses, not saving to buy houses, not paying down debt. And they're essentially just living in this world of kicking the can down the road. Now, I would say don't judge them, because all of you out there, including myself, have continually voted for the same people into government over and over and over, and that's all they do. So why would the masses do anything different, right? So let's not be egotistical. Even if you are better, even if I think I am better and I'm not doing those things, we still vote for people who do those things, and nothing has changed. So I'm of the opinion that people aren't changing their habits, they're just kicking the can down the road, much like the government. Now, as far as, and I'll come back to this in a second, as far as stagflation, recession potential, or a reigniting of inflation, I don't think any of those are really true. I don't think we're in stagflation. I don't think we're going to see inflation reignite. I do think inflation's coming down, but the way inflation is measured is essentially on a year-over-year basis. And so it might take until 2025 for us to get down to 2%, which, okay, is what it is. The Fed's been staying higher for longer, and I think that's the way this is going to get us to 2%. It's just waiting it out until the numbers are in our favor. Okay, so if that's the case, does that mean no more rate hikes? Yeah, I think that's probably what it means. And when we see job numbers come in lower than expected, as we saw recently, when we see CPI come in not hot, slightly cool, but it just shows that we're not reigniting when it comes to inflation. So I think that part of the story is going to be fine. I think come the second half of the year, we're going to start to see inflation really start to show cooling. We're going to see the insurance effect, not for auto insurance, not to have that big of a weight on things. We're going to hopefully see housing start to come through in the numbers. There's a lot of these tailwinds that we have, to really support potential rate cuts and really a slowing down of the economy. Now, we got to be careful, because what I think will likely happen is that the Fed is going to wait too long. I think the Fed, and Jerome Powell's actually said this, okay? Don't ask me when. It was in one of the press conferences over the last 2 years. He said that he would rather overcorrect than undercorrect and have inflation reignite. So he said he would rather go into a recession than to have inflation get out of hand. So he said it. He's been very transparent about it. I wouldn't expect rate cuts until it's obvious, until the rear view mirror numbers, in other words, numbers we get are always looking backwards, until those numbers indicate that it's time to cut, by which point it will be too late. I think that's what's going to happen. And at that point, I think we'll be cutting a lot more aggressive. It won't be 25 basis point. It'll probably be like 50 or 75 basis point. And it might start off with 125 and then the next one will be 75 or 50. But mark my words, that's what's going to end up transpiring. I hope it doesn't. Trust me, I don't. I don't want us to go into a recession. I don't want really bad things. But the truth is, I think we are in a recession. I think we've been in a recession. The Bureau just hasn't labeled it that yet. So anyways, with all that said, I think people are kicking the can down the road and they're delaying bigger purchases. They're delaying their retirement. They're delaying their investments. They're delaying buying houses. And a lot of this is for hopes of rate cuts that will re-stimulate things, allow them to actually buy a house because rates will come down. So mortgages and houses will be more affordable, and maybe more people will be willing to sell their houses because rates come down, and that will create such a big supply that all of a sudden it'll all be drained. And as nice as that sounds, and as theoretical as that may be, in terms of, okay, if rates come down, people are finally going to be willing to sell their houses because they can get another mortgage and, they won't be crying about the rates. There's going to be so many people on the sideline ready to buy those up that I don't think that's how it's going to play out. I think when rates come down, housing prices are going to go up. And so, not financial advice, but our philosophy in this household was to buy real estate during this high interest rate with the understanding that one of two things could happen. Either one, rates keep going up, and then at that point, well, guess what? We have a lower rate. Or two, rates come down. Well, we already locked it in. And so when everybody else is trying to find a house or to buy a house, we can just refinance to a lower interest rate. So that's been our strategy, and I think it's worked out pretty well for us. Like I said, interest rates have continued to go up, and at this point, we're sitting here nice at a 6% interest rate when most people are looking at 7.5 plus interest rates at the moment. So it's panned out for our real estate investments. Now, next, that's what I anticipate happening is that we are going to start to see signs of the economy slowing down between, let's say, starting now and the end of the year. All right. I think this is where it finally happens. And this is where we're going to potentially start to see rate cuts. How many? I don't know. How big? I don't know. All I know is that between now and December, I'd be shocked if we don't see at least one rate cut. In that time period, we also have a presidential election, which is really going to be interesting and telling of where the country is. All right. Does the country stick with what we currently have? Because political ideology, we want, the Democrats to win because abortion's a big topic, or because people think that, even another 4 years of Biden is better than 4 years of Trump? Or do we put Trump in the office in hopes to have a similar economy that we had in his first 2 years before COVID hit? And despite many people thinking, I don't like what he says or what he stands for, but at least I like the economy, and these immigrants coming in illegally is really starting to bother us in these cities. And a lot of people are upset that they're taking a lot of the jobs that they could be getting. And to be frank, even if I don't like him, it's better than these last 4 years we've had of Biden. Is that the sentiment? We'll find out soon enough, okay? I don't talk about my political views, but I'm just saying it's going to be one of those two things. You're not going to have a candidate win because, oh my goodness, this is the next big thing. It's not going to be like an Obama moment, right? When Obama won his first round, it was change, right? A sign of change. I would say Trump was the same way, actually. Trump was like drain the swamp, like we're going to go in there and clean it up. I would say this time it's either you think Biden is it's a less worse than Trump, or you think Trump's a less worse than Biden. And we're going to figure out what are the hot topics. Is it abortion? Is it the economy? Is it immigration? Is it war, national policy? We're going to find out. We're going to find out what the majority of the country is leaning towards, and there is a big silent majority. So, silent majority. So it'll be interesting to see which way this goes. But with all that said, if rate cuts come during that time period before the election, it's going to be very telling, again, how people are feeling and what the stock market does, because it's seen as a political thing. Yet, if you want to add even more complication to it, Jerome Powell Trump has said, I would fire him day one. Yet Jerome Powell, if he does rate cuts, that presumably would be better for Biden to stimulate the economy. But at that point, it would have been too late. So really, is Jerome Powell waiting to do rate cuts better for Trump, right? So it's weird. I mean, you can spin this any way you want, but these are the hot topics coming up right now from a macro perspective and our presidential elections. We also have some wars going on, a few hot engagements. So all of those things can impact what we're about to talk about now, and that's Elon Musk and his current compensation vote and the reincorporation of Tesla from Delaware to Texas. So let's talk about Elon's compensation first. So there's a lot of talk about what's going to happen. Will Elon leave if he doesn't get his comp plan back? Will he leave if he doesn't get 25% voting right of Tesla? Will he leave if, I don't know, something else weird happens? Will he leave just to leave? There's a lot of fear about this. But with the vote, we need to be clear. The vote does not mean he will get his compensation. The vote that we're going to have, that I think you have to vote by June 12th. You can change your vote up to June 12th. So for any of you who might have mistakenly voted against Elon, you can go change it. Yes, that is my opinion, and I think my opinion is the right one, hence it's my opinion. I think you should be voting to reinstate Elon's pay package. We all agreed on it, and we had Elon deliver on his commitments. We all benefited from it. He is due. If you are not part of that period and you're voting, in my opinion, you should still vote yes for his pay package. Why? Because you want Elon to be incentivized. You want Elon to get another pay package very similar so we can 10x the company again. Without Elon, good luck on that happening. Not saying it can't, not saying it's impossible, but why would you risk that at all? It makes no sense. So I think with this vote, the reason it's so important is because this will be their legal argument when they go back to appeal the judge's decision to revoke Elon's pay package. This is going to be the cornerstone, I think, argument for Elon's team. And so voting for this is more symbolic than anything. And while I have some angst that this vote might not go the way we want it to go, that's probably just a healthy paranoia of mine. In reality, I think that Elon's gonna get more of a percentage of the vote than he did the first time. I believe the first time he got something like 75% of people voted yes on his pay package. I anticipate it'll be even higher this time. Why? Well, look, you got some people out there who are voting against this pay package. Some people are being emotional, crying. They think Elon has been bad and he's speaking his mind. He needs to shut up and get back to work, and he needs to do this, and he shouldn't have fired the supercharger team, and all these people that apparently know so much more than Elon. Apparently they're so much brighter. Apparently they're so good that they don't even have to go start their own company, but they can tell Elon what to do. All of these people are idiots, okay? They're idiots. These are people who are egotistical. They are narcissists. They think they know better than everyone else. And to be honest, they are pathetic. They are losers. And they aren't doing good by anybody with this, okay? This is genuinely how I feel. These are people who deserve to be ignored. I'm not going to say blocked, but we need to start ignoring these people. Not because we're in our own echo chamber and Elon can't possibly do anything bad, but because this is a narcissistic behavior that people have right now, that some people have, very few, that they think they know better. They have the they think they have the moral high ground, and they think that they can make the right decisions for a company without having any of the data, right? Oh, Elon shouldn't have fired all the people from the supercharger network. You don't know what led to that decision. You don't know the why behind it. Then they're like, oh, look at that. Haha, he has to hire them back. I told you he screwed up. You don't know what led to that. You don't know why he's doing that. You don't know if this is part of the process. You don't know if he was trying to send a message. You don't know anything. You don't know if this is a whole new way of charging because we're going to go into a robotaxi world. You don't know is the bottom line. I'm not saying that you're wrong, that there's no chance that you are correct. What I'm saying is to be so certain about how you feel, what you think should be done without having all the data is just a sign of cockiness, and I'm not a fan of it. So with regards to the pay package, I think he deserves it. I think he will get it. I think he'll get overwhelming support despite the few naysayers. And the reason is because people who are invested in Tesla right now, they kind of believe in Tesla. They kind of believe in Elon, all right? But, I mean, arguably the best thing that could have happened for this vote is the fact that the stock's been down so much. The fact that it was just down at, 140 or something of that, because that pushed out a lot of, short-term investors. It pushed out the people who would get triggered by Elon putting out a post on X and saying, oh my God, I can't believe he's saying this. Oh no, right? It pushed all of them out of the stock. So the people who should be in there are people who are real investors, believe in the mission, believe in Elon. On top of that, everybody who's invested right now knows exactly what will happen if Elon does not get our support. There's a very good chance Elon walks. And if Elon walks away from Tesla, what do you think is going to happen to your investment? It's going to tank. Mark my words, it will tank. And I don't think many people are so much on their high ground that they are willing to vote against Elon just because they don't like a tweet he put out there. Now you can be like, oh, what about Ross Gerber, whatever his name is? Well, he's not actually voting with his shares. He's voting with his investor shares. He tries to do this a lot. He tries to act like he has all of his Tesla shares. He's going to be so influential. And he just talks a big game, but those aren't his shares. All right, those belong to his fund. He has less shares than I have, so it's comical, to be frank. So I wouldn't worry too much about that. I'm pretty optimistic about which way this vote's going to go, but the truth is we can't get complacent. Go vote. Vote for Elon. Vote for the reincorporation of Tesla into Texas. Now, why is that second part important? Well, the reincorporation is really important because this will give Tesla and Elon a lot more options to do several things, to offer a new pay package, to help get him to 25% voting control. There's just lots of benefits to doing this around this whole situation. So I think this is going to go well, but from now until then, until June 13th, which is the shareholder meeting, investor day, whatever it is called, I think it's the shareholder meeting. Until then, I think we're going to see some choppiness in Tesla stock. So let's actually take a look at Tesla stock real quick. Let's see if we can make this a little bit bigger. Okay, here we go. So here we can see Tesla stock. So I have this chart up. I don't know if this is too small for you guys, but let me see. So this is $414 right here, right? So these are all obviously post-split. And this we hit that, November of 2021? So since November of 2021, we have been on this down slide here, right? Damn, if this isn't a textbook downtrend, I don't know what is. And we've tried to break out of it once, twice, but we haven't really succeeded on it. And so we've continued to go down on this trend. Now, this trend, I think, will eventually be broken. The good thing is, I do think we've bottomed. And so here, you can see January of 2023 is when we bottomed at like $101, something like that, maybe $98, something like that. And then we had a second bottom here, about 139, and this was pretty recent actually, 140, right? So that happened recently, and we've jumped off from there. Now, I'm not a technical analysis guy, but a trend's a trend. Right? I'm not going to be blind to a trend. This is clearly a downtrend. In order for us to break out of this downtrend today, we would have to get to, what's this? Call it like about maybe 240, 230, somewhere around there is what we'd have to get to break out that trend. When we break out of this trend, I think we will see a strong move higher. And I think that's really what we're kind of all been waiting for. It's very classic for Tesla to consolidate this way for several years and then break out to the high side. I mean, I know you can't see it here, but even if we were to zoom in here, you could see, right? Look how bad this can look. See, like this is me just zooming in. Like you can see all this consolidation, and then look, consolidation, and then boom, it rips, right? So you can see that this is essentially how it moves, consolidation, and then it rips, and then it rips, right? So this is kind of the trend for Tesla, par for the course. So shouldn't be too worried about that. I think we will get there, and what's going to get us there will be a few things. Oh, actually, before we get into that, so also take a look at this. So you can see the uptrend we have here, right? Or I guess the bottoming, and we can see the downtrend. They essentially come into contention over here. What's this? Call that 1 year from now, okay? June of 2025 is when they will come into contention. So if we don't break out before then, come here of June of 2025, something's probably going to happen. So keep an eye out for that. Now, I did something recently that I haven't done in a long time, pretty much since 2021. I bought a Leap. Yeah, I bought a Leap. I bought a what was it, June 2026 Leap at a strike price of $250. I bought it when we were at like $164 a share. It was a down day. Implied volatility was low. So I thought, okay, we'll take our shot here. I do intend on purchasing another Leap after we get our delivery numbers. I'm just anticipating things going down, and that will also be a 2026 Leap. I don't know for what strike. I'll probably do like a $200 strike, but we'll see. So why am I doing that? Why? What's going on that has me all of a sudden ready to start nibbling at some Leaps? And again, keep in mind, like don't none of this financial advice. I'm just Leaps are gambles. That's what they are. So very small percentage of your portfolio, if you're going to do it, should be in this. It's not investing, it's gambling. So anyways, why do I feel comfortable taking on this risk all of a sudden? Well, the reason I feel comfortable is because of what I believe is happening right now when it comes to robotaxis. And I think we are on the precipice of this becoming a reality. I think any second now, a version's about to be released that will be maybe not feature complete as far as everything's polished, right? Right, meaning like polished as in, I don't know, maybe it backs up a little weird or it takes too long to park, right? Just like the little polishing, right? It's like if you build a house, the house is done being built, but you go through with the punch list, like, you missed a paint spot here. Oh, you need to clean up this paint off the faucet here. What about this, right? You just punch listing items. I think any moment now, we're going to be at a feature complete build that just needs to be punch listed out. And at that point, it is going to be undeniable. I said this before our Tesla earnings mega stream call a couple weeks ago. I said that on the earnings call, I anticipate that Elon will say the exact same things he's been saying for the last 2 years regarding FSD, regarding robotaxis, and that unlike every other time, all of a sudden everybody's going to listen and be excited about it and ask a lot of questions. Sure enough, that's exactly what happened. Elon said the same stuff he says every freaking time, but all of a sudden people are listening to him. I don't know why this is the way these things work, but it is. Maybe it's because they put a damn picture of the app on the what's it called on the deck, or maybe it's because Elon announced 8.8. I don't know, but for some reason all of a sudden they cared. So with that said, after earnings call, we had everybody talking about it on Squawk Box, on CNBC, podcasters, the All In podcast, Brad Gerser and Bill Gurley, they're talking about it. Everyone's like talking about it all of a sudden. And this is the kind of thing you see when people are starting to take something serious or they really see it. And I think this is a very monumental moment because we're watching this unfold before our eyes. Now, Elon also announced 8.8, which obviously everyone knows, August 8, robotaxi unveil. And, it wasn't long ago, just a few weeks ago, people were trying to unpack, what does that mean? Are they going to have a physical robotaxi? Are they launching a service? Are they just going to talk about it? Are they showing us a prototype? What is it? What's it going to be? And, everybody had their kind of conservative guesses, especially in the Tesla community. I feel like a lot of Tesla people, like us YouTubers and podcasters and, pundits have kind of tempered our expectations about what's going to happen. And so a lot of people are like, oh, well, maybe it'll just be the vehicle, or maybe they're just going to show us how it would work and do like a little kind of fake demo, kind of thing. And then we got this China news, and I was like, oh, that's interesting. Well, that kind of ties in with a lot of the 8.8 stuff we were talking about. How's the Chinese lucky number? And all of a sudden, you have this Baidu deal with Tesla for the maps, and all of a sudden, Elon flies out there, and there seems to be a preliminary agreement to open the pathways for Tesla to have their robotaxis. And all of a sudden, we see the same thing happening in Europe and in Australia. And it's like, okay, well, that's interesting. Something funny there. But then, you've got mainstream media and Reuters and all of them saying, well, we have not seen any permits or requests for robotaxi permission out of California, Nevada. So, no, there's nothing happening here. All right, it's the same crap. Meanwhile, you don't need it in Texas. You don't need it in Florida. There's 13 states they could deploy this that they wouldn't need this, any kind of permits. Why would you start in California? I wouldn't start in California. Why would you start in the state that essentially kicked you out, told you to go F yourself, Elon, and that you moved your company out of there? Why would I start it there? Why would I do that? No freaking way. I would start in Texas. I would start in Florida. I would start it in other states that are going to be less barrier to entry. And you know what that's going to do? When I create less of a barrier to entry, all of a sudden California is going to be like coming and saying, Tesla, please, Tesla, come, bring it to us. We are the innovation mecca of the world. We're not behind. We want this in our state. Yeah, watch how regulators quickly swoon in to clear pathways for Tesla. And if that's not how it happens with Florida, Texas, it seems like it's going to happen in China. And if it happens in China, same thing. Watch the U.S. and the NHTSA clear the pathways for Tesla, because they don't want to seem like China is doing better with the U.S. company than what the U.S. is doing with the U.S. company. Mark my words. This is 4D chess they're playing right now, and they forget that they're playing against Elon Musk. So this is going to be fascinating to watch. Now, let's continue down this path of thought process I've had, leading up to buying these leaps. Then we got 12.3, 12.3.6. I have my own experience driving with 12. We've had Elon talking about what 12.4 is going to be and 12.5 and 12.6. He recently said that 12.4 should be 5 to 10 times less or more miles per intervention. That's huge, because I barely intervene at all at this point. So we're seeing this ramp up to 8.8. We're seeing what this looks like. We understand that Tesla has all these lease vehicles that they have never allowed people to buy out. We have seen Tesla building out their data center. There's just an announcement about a deal with Dell. We know what they're buying with H100s, H200s, Blackwell chips. We know the relationship with NVIDIA. We know they're building out the data center. Elon mentioned they're working on complex cases now for the vehicle to be able to back out and then send that to the rest of the fleet. What's going to happen? We're going to get to a point where this is rolled out in several cities. Stock's going to go crazy, maybe $1,000 a share, and people are going to be like, oh, it was so obvious. It was so obvious. You got lucky with your investment. You got lucky. And we're all going to be sitting remembering like, was it obvious? Yes. Hence why I bought my leaps. Hence why I have so much investment in Tesla. But it wasn't obvious enough for you to do it. So if you were so smart, why didn't you do it? Oh, that's right. That's right. And that's the difference between capital gain tax and not capital gain tax. Capital gain tax is from taking risk, putting risk out there. Whereas earned income, there's no risk. You're just trading time for money. Capital gains, you are putting that time earned, money earned through time, and you're putting it out there and risking it. So it's different, and it is obvious in my opinion. And that's why I felt comfortable going ahead and buying a leap. Now, why do I say I'm going to wait till after the delivery numbers to buy another leap? Well, because I'm also not stupid. I'm aware that the numbers may not be good and that Wall Street may still be, over fixated on the delivery numbers rather than focusing on what's about to happen. They are so caught up with how many books Bezos and Amazon sold that they are missing the fact that AWS is ramping up and becoming this juggernaut. That's the same thing, right? That's what they're doing. Oh, look, these books. Oh, you're selling it. Oh, you're getting into some other things. Cool, cool, cool. Oh, that AWS business. What even is that? Same thing, right? Oh, how many cars did you sell? Oh, looks like they went down. Must be tough times for you. Meanwhile, Elon's sitting there saying, what? What are you talking about? You see how many subscriptions we have on FSD? More than 2%, Reuters. Okay, do you see? Do you even know what we're about to launch? Do you even know how many countries we're about to deploy in? Do you even know how many OEMs are about to license this? They're missing it. You know why they're missing it? Because they cannot see further than 1, 2, 3, 4 quarters. They can't. We've been doing that for a long time. That's what makes us different. That's why us as retail investors have the edge over a lot of these institutional investors. That's why you see Sawyer Merritt being invited onto CNBC. That's why you see Gordon Johnson, who still calls it WAMO for some reason, getting schooled anytime he's talking to Omar or anyone, right? That's the mainstream media is what you see Gordon Johnson, who thinks Cruise or WAMO has a better solution. Meanwhile, they're being investigated for 22 crashes. Yet people continue to talk about how amazing they are. Yet they can't scale. They're geofence limited. They're hardware limited. They have a brittle system. So that's why I went ahead and bought some Leaps, and why I will probably buy some more, like I said, after the delivery number. But assuming the stock goes down, right? I don't want to buy going into strength. So what do I see for the rest of the year? Well, to be frank, I don't know. What I anticipate is that we're going to get to 8.8, and by the time we get to 8.8, we will probably have had a decent reaction to the stock to the upside. There's a few catalysts for that. There's one catalyst to the downside, which would be delivery numbers, but then we have the shareholder meeting, the reincorporation. If that goes well, that's positive to the upside. We also have a chance for rate cuts. That's positive to the upside. We have a chance for a slower economy, which is good in a sense. So that will help to the upside because that means cuts come sooner. We have a presidential election, which, again, in general, no matter which way it goes, that tends to be good for the markets. We have 8.8, which should be good for the markets, especially if they show, which I think they will, the other vehicles they're going to be building on the existing lines. They will show the robotaxi. They'll announce how it's going to work. And I think that they will announce that it's going to begin, let's say maybe in Austin. They're going to use the leased vehicles they have right now on hand, and they're going to kick it off. And it's going to be a slow ramp, but also a fast ramp to go out there. And at that point, who knows? Maybe they're also going to talk about Dojo as a service. Seems like that's ramping up as well as far as building those chips out. So I just think there's a lot to be bullish on right now in what is a very tumultuous period from the economy, the macro, the presidential election, all these hot wars. Interest rates are so high, people aren't wanting to buy vehicles because of that. Every automaker's hurting. You got all the union stuff. You got the protests for Giga Berlin. Mexico hasn't started being built, right? So despite all of that, there's still so much bullishness. And so it just leaves me wondering, what happens when times get good again? What happens when the Fed has cut rates and inflation is dead and everyone's feeling good, investors are out there more bullish, and Tesla has delivered on robotaxis, and the wars settle down because inevitably they eventually will. It's just, I don't know. It just, the fact that we are doing so good and holding up so well right now and still making all this progress despite all this just makes me hopeful. I don't know. Maybe I'm just a forever optimist. I can always find a silver lining, but what's the point of life if you're not going to find silver linings, right? You got to have something to look forward to, something to be excited about. And, for Elon, it's space and be multiplanetary. For me, it's the potential for this company to revolutionize the way we move and what that means for people and humanity. And what that would do for my investments and for my family, right? Like, that's what, man, if you don't have that vision, that clarity of where you want to go, I highly recommend you figure it out Figure out what your true north is, figure out what your purpose is, and don't stop obsessing about it. Obsess about it. Think about it every day. Write it down, some notes, put it in front of your face, put it on your computer screen. Talk about it with your wife, talk about it with your husband, talk about it with your kids. Manifest it. I'm telling you, it will come true. I promise you. The universe is weird like that. It's whatever we put our energy towards, everything else just moves away. All right. There's actually a study that shows that people who have very bad anxiety, depression, is because they sit there and they think about the things they're worried about or scared about or depressed about. And if they would just stop doing that and get out and move or go and work out, the reason why working out helps with depression and anxiety is because it takes your mind off of the depression and anxiety. Now, the cool thing is the fact that that gets us down can also be used as a superpower in what I'm saying in manifesting. So if you focus your internal thoughts, your internal energy, the conversations you have with your friends, your loved ones, your family, towards that goal, that thing that you guys want, whether it's, to be financially independent, whether it's to take that vacation, whether it's to accomplish that goal, build that house, move into that neighborhood, get your kids into that college, that university, that job, that whatever, right? Focus on that maniacally. I'm telling you, it will happen. It will happen. I don't know when, I don't know how, but the universe has a way of conspiring in our favor, right? It's energy. Energy is infectious. It's contagious, but you have to really get maniacal and obsessive. You really do. You have to buckle down, put in those extra hours, and just focus on it, right? Focus on it, tunnel vision. It'll happen. Promise you. All right. I love you all. Thanks for indulging me. 41 minutes in, but you know what? I had fun. I love you all. Thanks for watching. Peace.